All right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the edition of the Uber Farmer Cigar Garage Talks. We're in the garage today. It is actually quite sunny out. I'm actually not even using my light. I'm kind of liking the light coming out of my window here. My neighbor installed a new roof, a metal roof, and it's actually this cool reflection coming across the table. I like that shadowing and how it looks in the camera. But that's only maybe temporary. We do have a lot of storm clouds. We had a big storm last night, and we're due for more thunderstorms. So I wasn't ducking in and out of the rain. I decided let's shoot the video inside the garage today. And I'm all by myself, right? Homeschooling mama had a bunch of stuff she's got to deal with. So just you and me today. So welcome. Thank you for stopping by. What are we smoking? What are we drinking? I have a Perdomo Lot 23. Churchill cigar length, actually. Connecticut wrapper. Really enjoying it. I'm not a huge fan of Perdomos. I don't know what it is. I want to love them. I really do. I want them to be my favorite choice cigar. But the flavors just, they don't hit all the time. Which is kind of frustrating. Because Perdomo is one of the brands that they actually make sure that the draw is almost perfect on every cigar, that they don't have plugged cigars. They test, I guess, each draw to make sure it's not plugged. Which, again, if you watch many of my videos, you'll know I very much get turned off by a plugged cigar. More so than anything else. I don't want to sit there and have to poke it or feel like I'm, sucking cement through a straw. I like a good, smooth, nice draw on a cigar. And all the Perdomo cigars I've ever had, yep, good draw. But just the flavor's not there for me. I know, probably get a lot of hate on for that. But that's just the truth of the matter. But why am I smoking this one? Good buddy of mine at work. Guy's name is Don. He got married just recently. And he had a big bachelor party, blowout downstate. You live, I think, 5 hours away from each other. So at his bachelor party, they were smoking up a bunch of cigars. There was a Perdomo cigar. He knew that I really enjoyed smoking cigars, shooting videos, so he sent me up one of his Perdomo cigars. So thank you very much, Don. I'm enjoying it. This one's actually not got a bad flavor. We'll see what happens as it progresses as I smoke, but shock horror to no one. The draw is almost perfect. For the drink tonight, we're getting into that season, folks. From Oddside Oktoberfest. There's going to be a few more of these beers coming up here pretty soon. I do enjoy a good Oktoberfest, not going to lie. I do not mind them at all. It's not like I wait particularly for the Oktoberfest season, yearning for the weedy, lagery beverage of some people's choice. Oh, there's a little Trev in this one. That's kind of fun. There you go. Oddside does good beers, though. Yeah, no, that's good. I don't mind that one at all. Full-bodied lager. Yep. Good wheat, a little bit of caramel in there. Good job, Oddside. Good job. So tonight, if you watched it all, the marriage series. I'm sorry, it wasn't the marriage season. My last video revolved around facing death at work. As a paramedic, I face a lot of death, a lot of chances of being killed on the job. And we were talking to homeschooling mama, and I asked her, what were the two times you really feared for my death? Like I might die, or I did die, or what were the different calls? 2 different calls. I think I asked for 2. One, she listed 2. Both for drastically different reasons. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. I know I've probably shared both of these stories in the War Story saga, but why not? We'll share them again and kind of go a little bit deeper maybe into what was going on. So the first one was my first ambulance accident. It is where I got T-boned by a car. I was in a rapid response unit, and they hit my side panel, throwing me into a bit of a tailspin, caused me to crash into a fire hydrant. And I know I got rocked. Like, I know I was rocked. So, they call an ambulance for me and an ambulance for the lady who hit me, because she then drove into a telephone pole after crashing into me. So, one, I'm not doing great. Just if you've ever been in a car accident, you're not thinking clearly. I also had my longtime partner who was off because she had some bad migraines. She actually drove to the scene. She heard the call on the scanner, knew it was me, drove to the scene to check on me. I'm trying to direct a scene. And I just didn't want to deal with her because she was starting to cry and, was wondering if I was dead. And I was kind of wondering if I was dead too, because it was a major accident. So anyway, long story short, I get taken into the hospital. Well, at the time, I decide, you know what? I am not going to call. I'm not going to call my wife. I've done enough ambulance transfers when people call loved ones, and I was backboard, head to toe, C-collar, head blocks on, strapped down to a board. That's just what we did. Back when I had my first ambulance accident, everyone in any accident, any trauma got backboarded. No exceptions. So I got backboarded. Well, you can't hear when you got the head blocks on, and it's hard to talk, and where we were, there was a good chance I was going to lose signal. I was like, the last thing I need is for the medic to be like, this is medic so-and-so, I need to talk to you about your husband, or your husband's here to talk to you, and the phone cuts out, or I can't hear her, she can't hear me, or maybe it's one of the times the kids call. I say, you know what? The medic did. He had his cell phone out. He's like, it's that time to call the wife. I said, no, man, no. I explained it. He's like, oh, that actually makes complete sense. I've been in the same situation with other patients where, like, they call their loved ones and then the phone line cuts out. He's like, we can put it that way. Okay. Well, what I didn't know, I was supposed to meet homeschooling mama for lunch with the kiddos. I wasn't answering my cell phone because it was still in the unit. And she was just wondering if I was on a call or something. So she calls the station, and my partner, who was not in the ambulance that I got struck in, was not in the rapid response vehicle that got hit, was there. So she was kind of confused. She's like, oh, I'm just trying to meet up with Hooper Farmer. And that's when he said the classic line. He's like, well, he's on his way to the on the way to the hospital. Unless something's wrong, I figured he would have called you by now. I mean, if he hasn't called yet, that must mean something's trailed off, because he realized what he's saying. Sent homeschooling mama in a tizzy. She's then trying to track me down. My partner's trying to track me down. I get the message to call your wife. Well, I call. It goes to voicemail because she's calling everyone she can think of, everyone she knows. I let her know, hey, I'm fine, but I'm strapped down to a backboard right now. I can't get up. Long story short, it was turmoil. It was confusion. It was earlier on in my career, so we actually came up with, after that incident, we kind of talked about, okay, how do I call and let her know that I was in a big accident? Just start off with, I'm fine, but. And she realized that if I say, I'm fine, but, it means I'm going to survive. It's kind of the code word, I'm fine, but. She knows I'm going to live, but that I was in probably a bigger accident. So that became our code word. And anything ever happened on the rig, I'm fine, but. And she'd know that not to let her brain wander and take off. If it wasn't good, or I thought something was, I was going to die, I'd start off with, I was in an accident. And then she'd know it's bad. Like, this is something we gotta, she's got to stop everything she's doing. And that was definitely an eye-opener to her, where, the idea that simply responding could end up in me dying. That the confusion she'd faced, no one could give her a straight answer. Was I alive? Was I dead? Was I injured? Was I okay? That really scared her. Um, yeah, and that was tough. That was a tough time in our marriage. We had a lot going on, and definitely did not need that extra stress. But that was probably the one of the closest times I ever came to dying on the physical job. The other one she listed was kind of interesting. This is one where she said my psyche was damaged to the point that she worried that it would lead to secondary death. Whether that was drinking myself out of that call, possibly even doing myself self-harm. Not dying necessarily on the call, but resulting from it. So in this one, I was responding to CPR in progress. Okay, I've done codes, ain't nothing about it. As we're hauling ass to get there, we actually get a stand down notification, like person's DOA stand down. Okay, that's odd. We don't get that often. Going from a CPR in progress to DOA, it takes us about, they were out there, so about 10, 15 minutes. We still show up because, one, we were called, and there's only a few people who can cancel a medic. It basically, they wanted, we had to get there, confirm death. Even though they said they'd stopped CPR, they had reasons to believe the lady was already expired. Okay. Get there. Nice property, actually. Beautiful acreage. Pretty nice house. But little things were off. There was like out-of-place farming implements, like an axe, like stuck in the ground, which, okay, that's not the best form, but I guess it's not that weird. There was like a pitchfork, kind of like, again, stuck in the ground at the other side of the yard. There's a baseball bat up against the, like the stairs going to the porch. On the porch, there was a knife kind of stuck between the boards. And I was like, man, my spidey sense is just a tingling. Something's not right. I can't put my finger on it. Now, was there any true, blaring warning signs? No. Just a lot of spidey sense. Like, man, this just ain't right. Something ain't right here. So, make entry. Find the woman on like 6 mattresses on a bed, very minimally dressed. It was really weird. And she had foam coming out of her mouth. She had, I'm guessing, husband, maybe boyfriend, also minimally dressed, kind of pacing back and forth. We go up, we hook up our 12 leads. She's asystole, all leads. Not much we can do. It was odd, though. I mean, she was heavier. She was a heavier lady. So, but no real health problems I could see. Like, no medications. We asked about meds. They said no. Her husband was kind of on some pain meds. She maybe had some pain meds. No other history. I'm trying to get information from this boyfriend, husband. And I tell the officer, like, man, my spidey sense is tingling. Something ain't right here. Like, I don't know what it is. Something's not right here. So we are asked by the police to kind of just do a little walk around. Don't touch anything, in case it's a crime scene. Don't touch anything, but just kind of walk around. See what you see. And the one officer knows that, yeah, I got some good intuition with this stuff. He's kind of like, let your spidey sense go. See what you find. Okay. Well, meanwhile, the boyfriend and her husband actually starts digging in a closet and produces a gun. That was great. So they arrest him. They put him in handcuffs. He wasn't actually under arrest because, high emotions. He technically didn't break a law because it's not like he was brandishing it. He was finding it, mumbling something that none of us could understand. It was completely incoherent. All of a sudden, I'm looking around like, oh my gosh, there's photos of children. I'm like, okay, does this woman have kids? Yeah, she's got kids. All right, what time is it? Well, much to everyone's horror, it's almost time for the bus to get there. So an officer goes peeling off. I tell him, don't let the kids come home to this off the bus. Plus, it was like it was like October 30th or 31st, or like it was right there, probably Halloween party. Then we even saw some costume making materials. Like, ah, hell, they just had a party at school. I'm like, do not let them come home to this. And so he sent one of the rookies out, go stop the bus, pull it over, pull the kids out, don't drop them off here. Okay. So something still just isn't adding up. And I'm doing a walk around. Me and another officer start playing the game of find the weapon. There are knives hidden everywhere. There are axes, there's knives, there's guns, there's you name it. Like, stashed all over the place. Like, don't get me wrong. I've got a couple of guns here and there. I got a couple of defensive tools that I can get to in a hurry, but this was excessive. And they're definitely in places where kids could actually get their hands on them, and they had a younger family, so I'm telling the officer, I'm like, something just doesn't feel right. He confirms that, yeah, no, this, we need to keep looking. Keep looking, we'll find something. So anyway, I go into the kitchen, and there's a pot of Kool-Aid sitting on the stove. And I was like, okay, that's weird, like Kool-Aid on a stove, but yeah, it's a cold fall day, so I guess like poor man's tea. You want to give some kids some tea, you warm it up a little bit. But I look, and there's a thin white powder at the bottom of this Kool-Aid, this pot of Kool-Aid. And I call the officer over. I said, I think I'm onto something here. And sure enough, we find empty bottles of pain pills, and some of them there, some of them not. We actually find some blood pressure meds, all of which were filled very recently. All the pills were missing. There's a mortise and pestle with a finely crushed white powder in it. With this new information, they confront the husband and or boyfriend, who admits that they were going to kill their kids. Apparently their kids were trying to kill them, so they were going to kill them first. So they mixed up a big batch of deadly Kool-Aid that they were going to give to their children. Luckily, though, the wife, the mom, whatever you want to call her, the woman, wanted to make sure they couldn't taste it. Couldn't taste the pills because they're worried that they'd have to finish the full cup to kill them. So she decided to sample some. Luckily, the dose was high enough to take her out before she could take her kids out. I go back to the body and confirm, yeah, there's Kool-Aid staining on her lips, and some of the other conditions that were kind of presenting make sense. Foaming at the mouth, stuff just suddenly made sense. So yeah, here's a woman who was going to kill her kids. And then here's a husband or boyfriend. I still don't know. I think it was her husband. Let's just go with husband. We'll just keep that. We'll embellish that part of the story. Who was not only complicit with poisoning his kids, he was more concerned about his wife's health than he was about these children he was about to murder, which is just unacceptable. There was a part of me that wanted to give him a cup of Kool-Aid to calm down with, if you know what I mean. It just turned into the biggest cluster in town. The kids got taken away. The guy got locked up. It was rough. It definitely hit me very hard to have to see that. The depths of people's depravity, the godlessness that people have. That call did change me. Homeschooling mom was right. I went to some dark places, just thinking about what I wanted to do to that guy, and then thinking about how horrible the world was. I did drink a little bit more than usual. I don't think I drank to the alcoholism point. That came from something else later. But yeah, it hit me, and it hit me hard. That there are people on this earth that are that evil. That they are willing to poison their own kids. You can only imagine the hell those children lived in, day out. Homeschooling mom was right. Was that call hazardous in the moment? No. But did it cause some pretty deep wounds that I had to heal from? And had I not healed from them, could have caused me to expedite my passing this earth? It's possible, folks. That was a heavy-hitting call. That changed my views on a lot. And it happened kind of early on in my career. That's the type of stuff EMS has to run into. And fire and police. I'm not going to belittle them at all, but I can speak from the EMS point of view. That's stuff we have to deal with, stuff we run into. It is tough. It's tough to go from that and then treat your next patient without any bias or without any difference. You can't let stuff like that phase you or shake you. It's not easy to do, folks. I can tell you that. It is not easy to do. But luckily, with the help from my religious life, from my wife, from my partner on the ambulance, I was able to get over it. That wound healed. As I kind of jokingly say, just in time for the next one. But yeah, those were tough calls, both of them. Both of them I faced death, but both in very, very different ways. So there you go. Facing death on the job. Both short-term and chronic. But again, I knew what I was getting into when I signed up for EMS. There was no surprises. I didn't show up one day to work and be like, oh, this is what it's all about. No, I knew going into it. This is a dangerous, dangerous profession. And many people don't get out of it. They don't walk out of it okay. They don't walk out of it healthy. Some of them don't walk out of it alive. But that's what I signed up for. So that's what I did for 20 years. Anyway, folks, I'm going to go enjoy this cigar. Yeah, the flavor's kind of falling flat again, Perdomo. I love your draw. The flavor's just kind of weird. I don't know. I'm going to keep trying some. This one had me up with some high hopes. Boy, folks, stay safe out there. We'll see you on the next one.